Is bulking and cutting? So I've seen this question a few times and I thought, why not make a video on it? What is bulking? And what does it mean to bulk? And what is cutting? And what does it mean to cut or mini cut? These are typically phases to describe your main objective: putting on more muscle or burning more fat, putting on more muscle or muscle mass, which is essentially the goal of bulking, done by being in a caloric surplus, which basically means that you're eating more than you burning for energy. A cut means that you are trying to stay in a caloric deficit in order to burn fat, even though this is a suboptimal state for muscle growth. Truly understanding when to use which or neither is what separates the people who look like they work out versus the ones who don't. With a lot of unrealistic expectations being set by the media, we often do not know how to effectively use the bulking or cutting strategy, when to switch, and for how long. I know that when I was bulking, trying to put on size, I knew that I needed to eat more. But I honestly didn't track how much calories I was consuming. This led to me picking up a lot of unnecessary fat because of trying to rush the process set by non natural transformations that I was comparing my progress to. You are fooled thinking that you will look better by putting in all the hard work and looking doughy instead of muscular. Now, the same is true when it comes to cutting. The transformations we see are also not sustainable diets, and most of the weight loss is not even fat loss, but water and muscle too. Why is it that most of the people that go to gym seem to be diligent and working hard on the regular, but you would never even say that they worked out? How many of them actually look like they do? Now you may say, oh, but only the ones on steroids. And this is not always true, because people are people that are taking steroids doesn't necessarily make up for the lack of understanding the core principles of body sculpting outside the gym. Everything that you consume determines how your body looks, even more than the hour inside the gym. So I tried to forget everything that I knew and try to relearn and teach myself. I stopped blending up and drinking my veggies and meals, and I stopped the typical bodybuilder meals or healthy meals. It's like a light bulb went off, and I realized that I should be focusing on what's important for my goals, and that there was a chance that I was restricting and torturing myself with disgusting tasting stuff, all in the name of getting closer to my goal. And it was not even getting me the results that I wanted. So I've been working since, trying to hone in and formulate a method to enjoying the food while making more results, than the old school way of thinking. So the two biggest things that I learned to prioritize above all else is my caloric and protein intake. Forget about the healthy and unhealthy foods, or sugars, carbs, fats, processed and unprocessed foods. Don't restrict yourself into a corner in order to stay under a certain caloric deficit. you may find that you need to restrict the caloric denseness of the food, you know, eating lower calorie options, or by restricting the food portions, or eating time like intermittent fasts, or like some diets cutting out a whole food group in order to limit your options and therefore intake. One of these options to help keep you in a deficit. But I just want to personally, I do not find the last one sustainable. But play around with the other ones and see which form of restriction feels less like restriction, while eating less and trying to battle the urge to overeat. Each person will have their own techniques that work best for them. I can dive further into these techniques in another video for you to test out and find what works best for you. But for now, eating in a surplus can have some people not able to eat up. And in these situations, I would say add in your favorite high calorie foods. Add in liquid calories, which are high caloric drinks. Go for the full fat, high calorie options. Eat more regularly and try to get something inside your stomach very early in the morning. Okay, so now that we got the basics of how to manage your caloric levels at each phase, let's talk about how many calories do you actually need to consume for either. Now, there's no magic number. Each of us burn a different amount of calories, depending on how active we are, our body weight, our muscle to fat ratio, a lot of variable factors. But what I did was try a few of these online calculators, and then I just went with an average between them. I then monitored my body weight, and then I just adjusted them after a week or two. And you can do this by adjusting 200 calories at a time, and you just take it from there and monitor. I would also recommend using photos and measurements just to help monitor the progress and better gauge the fat from muscle progression. This has allowed me to sculpt my body and enjoy what I eat and feeling good. In the next video, I'll cover how to know when and how often you should switch between the two phases, and I'll even discuss a third phase. So just look out for that. But until then, my goal is to help 100 people who have not been seeing any results, and they know that it's not from a lack of trying. I want to help you find your way. By the way, this assistance is completely free with no strings attached. Obviously, this offer will expire, so if that is you, send me a message, comment, let me know that you're interested, and I'll be in touch. I'll see you tomorrow.